Hey Miguel. Sorry, sorry, I was muted.
Do you
Hey Miguel,
yeah, how are you?
doing good. You?
You also good? Um, uh, you speak Spanish, right?
Sí, así es.
Sí, yo también. Em, ¿Preferís hablar en español o en inglés?
Y como tú te sientas más cómodo, yo cualquiera, yo estoy contento.
Ok. em, yo soy argentino. Vi que en tu CV vi que eras de México.
Ujú.
Podemos hablar español, pero bueno, como la entrevista es para una empresa donde vamos a hablar en inglés, la hagamos en inglés, pero después podemos hablar en español.
Perfecto.
Em,
Ujú,
ok. em, Yeah. Okay. I've been reading your CV.
ujú.
Looks pretty well. Um, I just want to know a little bit more about like some specific stuff.
Ujú.
Um, can you tell me more about what you use ECS for?
Sure.
Uh,
So right now, I'm in the project Ion, which is a platform from Capital One that gives service to the whole company for any incidents. So the idea is to have any incidents put in the platform, and then all the people involved get engaged in an easy way. But I am like it grew too big, so it's divided in quite a few microservices. The idea is to easily deploy with Docker, just do the configurations in Docker and deploy quickly with ECS and Fargate, and not have these to use the serverless, all the benefits of serverless to not having to manage anything, just able to quickly and easily deploy, and also for failovers. Yeah.
yeah. Um, what do you use for um, like which kind of metrics do you use for scaling your pods or like your containers or services
Yeah,
or
right.
tasks?
No, that's a really good question. So we do performance testing. It's based on what has been like the highest points in traffic, like the whole year. In we took those metrics and say, okay, based on this performance and the metrics, what's the capacities we need to have for these for them, and that's how we decide.
Pretty cool. How do you collect those metrics? Like what are you using for that?
Uh, so we have a in our pipeline Cloud Watch, if I remember correctly, to be able to handle track those metrics, as well as New Relic, and we're having like all the dashboards with how everything behaved, the like the availability of the servers, and how much utilization they had. So yeah, based on those dashboards and when we get the logs, that's how we do that performance testing, and then we decide.
Yeah. Um, what's what's I mean what do you think are the trade-offs of using ECS versus using EKS, meaning like Kubernetes or like yeah,
No, yeah,
any solution?
that's actually a very good question, because we faced that not so long ago. The thing with Kubernetes is that we have to do. I mean, it's really good tool because you can do like a lot of configurations that you need to for the big projects. And I think that's why it's used in Capital One for specific projects, but some that are pretty big. I think like for microservices and things that are small or don't need that much configuration, it can be like a super hammer that that you just don't need. You can just use Docker. So that's why we use Docker instead of Kubernetes.
Um, yeah. Also, I've seen you mentioned PagerDuty and New Relic. Have you heard of Sentry?
Yeah,
Um,
I've
yeah.
used Sentry in the past, especially for mobile apps. I mean, that's what I've used it for tracking how users go from one page to another, be it mobile or web. How users, if they have some unexpected changes, the app crashes, and yeah, I think that's basically what I've used it for. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, just like going
Mhm,
into the details of PagerDuty, New Relic, Sentry.
mhm.
What else do you think there's for um, like how do you use them in like your projects besides like tracking users? What
Right.
else like came from them?
Uh, so whenever there's I don't know, like some information you're sending, you want to be able to see like how the information travels through your microservices. If it stopped, if there was an exception, there was something that happened at any level, and be able to follow that trace and quickly find a problem. Yeah, for anything. That's one. Sentry, I think it's also used for adoption rate, so you can tell like by each version of the app, like how much users have engaged with it, uh, and like how much of the release has been adopted. Um, and PagerDuty is basically for tracking any incident. So it was, I don't know, 1,000 users have seen a blank page, right? And for PagerDuty, you can quickly organize the team, the schedules, and how the escalation process is going to go. If there's some, you can quickly go to the monitors in New Relic or in Datadog that I've also used. Um, and yeah, have those links so you can quickly find basically the root cause of the problem.
Yeah. Um, how have you had to set them up, like configure it yourself at some point? Like you need to like create the New Relic account, like go in and configure, or like the Sentry account. Like, did you
Mhm.
ever have to do that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so the way I had to do it, and maybe not the whole process of the user account, but just internally for the team. What I had to do was retrieve some keys and some tokens so I can link the tools. Like for example, New Relic and PagerDuty. The KDs, PagerDuty team is going to correspond to this New Relic team or group of dashboards. And then in what I've done inside is do some you could say like queries, which say what are you tracking, and for which microservice. So microservice A, I'm tracking, I don't know, like availability, 500, 400s. So I put like say those queries so I can keep track of that. If I need to. And in PagerDuty, what I had to do is uh, I, to be honest, I don't remember the last time I had to like link dashboards and PagerDuty alerts. Uh, but what I know is that we had maybe I'm wrong on this one. Where I know it's we had a Terraform where it would link like let's say you have this new service you deploy and it like vinculates the dashboards with PagerDuty. As far as I remember, maybe that's not possible, but I remember there was something like that. Uh, uh, yeah. PagerDuty I just compute like the teams and the schedule and everything, like the keys and but not the actual uh, alerts. Well, the alerts, when I say alerts, not the like vinculate them with New Relic, but I do have like the thresholds and everything. That's something I've done. Just I don't remember how to link the New Relic dashboard with the actual alert. To be honest.
That's all right. Also, I see that you've done like some Django to Go migration.
Mhm.
Um, can you tell me more about that? And also, like, what's your experience with Django? We're using Django for backend, so like,
Mhm.
it's better if you know a little bit about it and you've used it. That would be great.
Right. So we previously had our okay. So giving in context, so Capital One or any bank, when you do a transaction, you transfer money, you make some payments, you use your card, you will have some retentions. Just so the bank can validate, hey, is this fraud? Is this not fraud? There's the person has the funds, uh, and like all the sorts of validations that banks do. So you have a retention, and this whole platform handle all of those kinds of retentions. and it was written in Django. But the thing is, what was found was that the performance between the Django apps and the Golang apps at Capital One, there were quite a few comparisons that done, and we found that Django was a lot slower than Go, specifically for the necessities the bank has. So that's why the migration occurred. About Django, I mean, I know how to handle Python, create functions, like do that MVC model that I think Django uses, and that's the correct term. Yeah, model view controller. Yeah, sorry. Uh, and I think it's a pretty good, like I said, framework to quickly use. To be honest, I do prefer Flask over Django, but that's just personal. Uh, uh, but yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. Sorry.
Yeah,
Let me know.
that's okay. Yeah, Django actually they named it model view template instead of
Yeah.
model view controller, but it's the same thing. Yeah.
No, yeah, you're right.
um, yeah, we're also gonna use Fast API instead of
Mm,
Flask or like some other API.
okay.
Uh, but that's a lot more similar. It's basically
Mm.
almost the same, I would say. Like, I hope no one gets mad. Um, yeah. Also, yeah, you mentioned Terraform
Mhm.
many times. Uh, I also love Terraform, but as Hera said, we're using AWS CDK. Have you
Okay.
heard about CDK? Have you like worked with it? Like, do you know anything about cloud formation? How all of this works?
I know about CloudFormation, but I've never used it. To be fair, so I know it's a good way to quickly implement the architecture of the app and do like what we're going to use. But correct me if I'm wrong. So you can quickly put in place like I don't know, I'm gonna use like these containers, these lambdas, these everything, and you can just do like this sort of script where you say la la la, I'm gonna use A B C and D and these connections, this is how it's gonna be integrated, and then just run the file to get your environment up and running. But again, correct me if I'm thinking of another thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that. Um, yeah. Can you tell me more about Terraform? Just like what specifically, what have you done with Terraform? Like, for example, I know, have you like created lambdas with Terraform and deployed them, or like have you created ECS clusters, or like NATs? What's specifically, like something that you've done with Terraform, and what was hard about it or good?
No, that's yeah. Uh, okay. So at Terraform, what I usually stipulate is like first of all, what zones I'm gonna be using. Like if I'm gonna be east west, have these forget the word like reliability availability. So I can have my services up and running. If one fails, I can have like the other one back up. And then I stipulate, okay, I'm gonna use I'm gonna create some new some new uh, resources. Sorry. So what I'm gonna do, okay, I need some lambdas. I'm gonna stipulate like, okay, I need okay, this ECS container and everything. Uh, it's sort of like a tree kind of structure where you have to stipulate what are you gonna use, like in which environment also as well. Like if it's for QA, for dev, for prod, like the resources that you're gonna have in these environments, and then you can like quickly run the commands like if it's gonna you need to create or delete resources. So in case you, I don't know, you changed your architecture and you're dropping something that you aren't using anymore, you can quickly use your Terraform files to know which services you have there, which ones you're going to drop, and just I don't know, quickly drop those. And fortunately, nothing goes wrong and when dropping. But yeah, basically that's what I've used it, Terraform for. Um, Um, yeah.
Yeah. You prefer Fargate or EC2 instances? Like, and what do you think are the trade-offs there?
I've used EC2 instances uh, for deploying some independent projects, which I mean, you get to select the image that you need. I don't know, like Ubuntu something 20, for example. You get to stipulate like how much, if I remember correctly, like how much space you need. Uh, I mostly use the free tire for that, to be honest. Like, but you can select okay which region you're gonna have that, and then you get your server up and running, and then you can quickly put the commands to install everything you need. So you have that flexibility of what exactly you can do and try and test. Um, I guess like a little bit more like your hands-on. Uh, but at least for me, I mean, I've never had that use case where I really need to do that over ECS. Like I can just quickly put like everything I need, like I don't know the node version in the Docker file, and yeah, like basically what I need to install and have configured before I can just put my app there and running, up and running. Um, I don't know, maybe there is, but I've had everything I need with ECS for the configuration so far. Um, if you have any use case, I here because yeah, to learn because yeah, I've never had that, at least for me.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Can you tell me? I've seen that you've done a lot of front end also.
Mhm.
Uh, um, what's your favorite framework? What will you use like for your own projects?
Um, so I think what I've used so far and what is my favorite are different things. Uh, so I started with React and I got to quickly like it. And then when Next.js came in, I also tried it and really liked it. Like React at the end of the day is a library. I tried Angular before that and I hated it, just because it's like so many things you have to do before you can actually code, or there are so many configurations and things and whatnot that I mean, Angular is obviously for really robust and big applications, and that's what it's for. And I know that it works pretty well for that. Uh, but React being just a library, you can quickly go and make the changes you need. JSX, it's not like an impediment, or it's something that you can quickly adapt to. So I can quickly go and just do my divs like I would usually do in normal HTML. It's plain JavaScript, so that's pretty good. Um, if you do fetches, you can do everything you need. You can do your custom hooks, and so it's a really versatile library that have your site up and running. And I actually liked it a lot for that. But actually, um, like I've seen how quickly people can do bad practices in React, like especially junior devs. Which I mean, it's okay because they are learning and you can guide them. But it's because of that. I do lately just trying to get into Vue just because of that. And I would say it's a lot like all of the things that people have been complaining about Angular and React. It's in Vue. It's kind of I mean it has also some things that are not as good, but it's a lot cleaner. Um, but React is pretty common. React is I think if I talk to my friends and most of them know React because they've tried it at least once, and people from backend that they hate frontend, I know they know at least have tried React once. So I think it's really widely adopted. So and easy to just go and do your own thing. So I know, sorry if I rambled a lot, but I hope that makes sense.
No, it's fine. Yeah, yeah. React. It's like I don't like it personally, but it's like so widespread that I will use it just
Yeah.
because it's what everybody uses. Yeah.
Right.
like how would you deploy like a Next.js or React app?
Um, so I mean, for React, I mean, I mainly have like I like quickly configured like a server with sorry, what was this? It's like Apache, but for Node is uh sorry for Nginx. Um,
And,
so I, and it's easy. You can just do React build and it will build your project. So you need. I mean, I've found tools like, for example, in the case of React, like Firebase, you can just run some commands and quickly have that hosted in Firebase hosting. And for Next.js, I usually use Vercel. It's, I mean, they're the creators of Next.js and they have the really good integration with their own tools. So it's pretty simple. But then you can do something similar with Nginx and, for example, a droplet in dash no, uh, forget the name of the ocean something. Uh, but- Sorry, forget the word. But yeah, you can as well easily just do your own build and deploy in a server. And,
yeah, yeah. By the way, I think Vercel it's like the way to go. It's
yeah,
like super simple,
yeah.
comfortable. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, can you tell me? I want to know, like, also like your experience with databases. Like, for
Mhm,
example, um, like, have you written or are you
mhm.
do you like SQL? Are you always using an ORM? Like, what's your take on the whole, SQL ORM stuff?
So I think well, I don't think I as far as I remember, I haven't used an ORM for SQL. What I do usually is, like in Express, for example, I use libraries for like build query builders for avoiding SQL injections. But I think that's when I think of a tool, that's what I've used most. I usually just like try to type the queries. Um,
Can you
yeah,
say
yeah.
one of the libraries that you've used?
For Express, uh, uh, no, should I? No, I don't remember at the moment. Sorry, no,
Don't
it's
be nervous. Like, I just want to know. I'm
no,
just
yeah,
curious.
yeah. I can say it to you. It's not you, but yeah, no,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay. Um, and in other projects, like when you have to interface with the DB, like what do you do? Like for
Mhm.
example, when you're using Go, like how did you interface with the DB, for making the requests or like
No, no, no.
like when you did the
That's a
migration?
question. So for example, in the case of Mongo, I've used Mongoose, which is pretty good, and it helps save you a lot of pains. That's one. I've used like graph databases, Neptune in AWS. So there you do have to build your own queries for sending them to the database. So I haven't used any intermediate tools or libraries. Just building the queries for that. And yeah, for Dynamo, I haven't used it in a while, but um, I think there was something intermediary that I did use because I don't remember like writing plainly to Dynamo. What was there? Mm, Not for Dynamo, I don't remember, but at least for Mongo and Neptune, again, Mongoose, SQL, I usually just do the libraries for avoiding SQL injections, and for Neptune, I do build the queries.
Yeah. Can you tell me more about what's different between like MongoDB, DynamoDB, and like SQL database, like MySQL, Postgres? Like what's
Mhm.
different in their model? Uh,
So what I usually use NoSQL databases for is that they're um, you can quickly try and test things. Uh, for people that don't have that skill experience, it's really easy for them to go and just uh, do their thing, build some tables, think how the schema would be, and yeah, we can quickly easily, I don't know, like put some user data, some from a relation data information there, and retrieve that information quickly in JSONs. So that's like super seamless. You don't really notice. You don't think of you have to transform data. About SQL, I mean, I think it's really good when you have to have. I mean, I guess that there's the word like the relational database. It's the name for a thing because you have to go and treat those relations like I don't know, for example, between users and laboratories and how they're gonna relate and what information that you have to keep like for the studies and everything. Um, you really need to quickly be able to like handle that. How you're gonna if you need lab lab data or based on the user or lab data user data based on the lab. Sorry, you can quickly build the query and say, okay, I need to have these like joined um, and linked, but we have without the possibility of uh, of dirtying your tables. I would say that that could be the word, like having a dirty database schema where everything's just a mess and a mesh of things, which can kind of easily happen with NoSQL databases. You can just sometimes just try to replicate the information because you need to, or it's not as easy to do those links. So you can do those dirty tricks, which I don't like. And that's why you would need a. That's why you say, okay, this is definitely some SQL case for. I don't know if that makes sense, or happy to expand on anything.
Yeah. Um, what specifically, like I want to know more about structure. Like what, like MongoDB, for example, it's like document-based database.
Mhm.
Dynamo, it's key value store, and MySQL and Postgres, like whatever SQL, it's based on schemas or tables and constraints. Can you like explain more of those concepts? Like, what
Mhm.
are they good for? Like, why would you choose one or the other?
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's a good question. So, um, uh, to be honest, like I usually don't decide between the database based on like the necessities, I guess. Yeah, I mean, when I mean necessities, I mean like when I pick a NoSQL database, it's usually based on what technologies I'm building it around. Um, like if it's a simple project, I would probably pick Mongo because of its quick um, quick communication with I guess with Mongoose, and they can do a lot of versatile things and find IDs or by name or anything pretty easily. I tend to use Dynamo when it's an AWS project where I have all the whole architecture and I kind of okay I have the need for the NoSQL database. Then I know Dynamo is it's a really good choice. The integration is there. I don't have to do much besides configuring. I don't know like the uh, or like so I forget the word like VPCs, everything like all the encapsulation, I guess, and make things private. And I would say more for me, it's more the comparison between if I need SQL or NoSQL or maybe a Redis or I don't know. So what are use cases? Like if I see too many relations or the that I see that a little bit tangled, like it's or it's super tangled and super integrated and how it's I know loosely couple the data. So that's where I decide if I have to use SQL or NoSQL or even a graph database or Redis. That's how for me. Yeah, maybe it's not as good, but not a good way to do it. But I've done it that way. Yeah.
Cool. what have you like ever had to work with like background processes? Like like there is some like something compute intensive or memory intensive, like just something that it's network intensive. Like whatever that you don't want to put in a
Hmm.
cycle, and then
Yeah,
you put it like in a background task. Like how have you handled that in like the past or right now?
yeah, no, definitely. What I've done is use the sorry, maybe it's me nervous, but the WS, the work something. Okay, just context. When you have a request, there's timeouts, right? So you definitely want to avoid that. Connections tend to be closed after a certain time. It can vary. You can configure that, I guess. Like, hey, I want my server to be to keep the connection. I don't know, for 5 seconds, right? 10 seconds, just to say a basic example. But even that, you can have like a background task for, I don't know, 15 minutes. So I don't know, any image processing or you handle a really heavy file or whatever. So you put up like this worker server, worker, um, shit. Uh, this this connection that allows you to like just keep maybe like the website and the server connected in a way that you say, hey, this is open. Just keep the communication of saying, hey, am I ready? Am I not? How much of the progress has been done? Um, that has been my experience when handling like a really long task. And if that makes sense. And sorry, I said I
Um,
forgot the word again, but
uh, do you, I mean, do you mean WebSockets
yeah.
or
So yeah, that was word. Yeah, AWS. Yeah, sorry, I was yeah, sorry. Yeah,
okay?
that
Um, I was asking more about the like what if you need to do like something that it's long but in the server, like the user, let's say, uploads a big file and
mhm.
then you process it in the server. Like I don't care about like what the user, like what
Okay,
the user experience here. Like I care, how does the server, process stuff in the background. Like what do
okay,
you use
okay.
for that? Yeah.
So okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I know. Sorry. So I have like I guess two ways I can think of right now. One is first I'll try and test if my server can handle that. So one thing I would do is just divide the file like in batches. So try to see if my server is good enough to handle those batches of data. Like you have some sort of pointers in the file, like hey, like from this to here, process this and then process the next part. And I don't know if it's 15, 30, I don't know what, how many gigabytes. I guess usually it's when you exceed 25 gigabytes that you see in the website, hey, this is too big. So when you have to handle that kind of amount of data, I would divide that. Uh, that's one. But sometimes, and not sometimes, whenever I see that, I can tend to see like a lot of CPU usage. And like I mean, again, it's a really big files and obviously there's going to be a lot of intensity in the server, a lot of stress. So what I would do then is uh, maybe have that just the file drop directly in an S3 bucket. And we can talk about the details later about how a normal user would do that. But I would say, hey, let's drop that and have this Lambda or this S3 bucket notify the Lambda, hey, I finished uploading the file. And then you can just run the Lambda and say, hey, this is ready. And connect with maybe some microservice or with the user, whatever you want to do. So those are the two things I would probably do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Um, yeah. What if what if
Yeah, yeah.
the server
Uh-huh.
is like cannot handle it
Hmm.
and lambdas have a timeout of 15 minutes
Hmm.
uh, and it like the task is longer than 15 minutes. What will you do then?
So
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 none of
the
those.
so the Lambda is not to handle the file processing, but like you just drop it in the S3 bucket, and and the Lambda just to say, hey, everything is up and running. Like the S3 bucket is the one who handles everything,
Okay.
and then you just like fire a signal and say, hey, everything's done. The file is here in the S3 bucket, and then you fire uh, like a Lambda, but the Lambda is not processing; it's just sending like the signal out, like a trigger of sorts. If
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, I have a couple more questions, but I think we basically covered everything. My question will be, can you tell me more about what was your experience with, more low level stuff like Java, low level, like not really, with like SAP, Java, C Sharp, Objective C, like uh, did you use those for mobile? What exactly?
Um, so when you say low level, you mean like changing things in the computer, like opening files. I'm
No, no,
just trying
no.
to understand the question.
It's just like, sorry, maybe I confused you. It's just like Java, C Sharp, and Objective C are more
Oh,
low level than script and Python
uh,
and Go, like a little bit.
okay. I mean, if I understood your question correctly, and if not, correct me.
Just tell me what you did with those languages. Sorry, I overcomplicated the question.
No, no, no. That's fine. It's perfect. Um, so I guess, like to be honest, like the most I've done is like for mobile. I've used Objective C and Java respectively for iPhone and Android. Um, I guess just do some configurations to I would say like integrate with all the like the libraries they have internally. So let me put an example to this to make sense. So let's say I have to do the discounts for any sort of payment. So I have to go into the Objective C and Java code to like really read those properties from the phone about which user I'm I'm looking at, what Play Store and what App Store user I'm looking at, and not just like my user, but the user on, let's say, that end, like App Store, Play Store. Uh, what things the user has done, like have they had a discount already? They have that subscription active. So yeah, mostly like interacting with things that the I would say iPhone or Objective C API and the Java Android API have, and can send me back. That's I don't know if that answers your question. That's what I've done. Um,
Yeah. Which compiler did you use for Objective C?
um, yeah, no, to be honest, I like just opened Xcode and wrote my code, and then I don't remember what the compiler is for that. Yeah, no, I would be lying if I said I knew.
Okay.
For Java, I know it's Java. I think that it has like its own compiler, but no, that's as far
Java
as I know. I'm sorry,
Java
what?
compiler.
Yeah,
For Java,
that's
it's Java compiler.
Java compiler. Yeah, but for Objective C, I don't know that.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Was a tricky question. um, um, yeah, I think this is the last question. Um, can you tell me like how do you like roll out changes to the database structure? Like what do you use like for rolling out changes? Like say like you want to add
For
a
rolling out. Okay.
rolling out. Yeah,
Um, Sorry, the question was when I have to roll out changes in the database. Was that your
yeah,
question?
yeah. What do you do? Like what do you use for that?
I guess
Like
no, I don't know if that answers your question, but what I usually go is to the canary rollout process. So just trying to really have everything out there. Um, I there are usually two zones, two availability zones. So let's say east and west, and the idea is to have like the kind of deploy first for east and try to test if everything looks good, then replicate for west, like kind of blue green approach. And I mean, was that your what was that what you trying
Uh,
to find out or
that was
maybe?
not what I wanted to know, but it's also a good insight. Um, I think I'm more curious about what what is like the actual process of changing one column to the other. Like, how does that happen? How, like, in the when you're rolling it out, like in the canary release, like what does it happen there? Like what's like if you have to roll back, what
Ah,
happens, like when you apply the thing, what happens
mhm.
exactly, at that.
At the database level.
Yeah.
Right. Um, okay. I mean, maybe just me that I maybe I'm lacking in that part. And, I'm just trying to think if I can find like an example of what's answering to your question. Um,
Just, or you can just say whatever you think it happens. Like,
uh,
yeah, I mean, the
no,
question is
yeah,
also not to, like you can say, oh, the like SQL statement that adds the table gets executed. Like just
okay.
what do you think happens. Like,
Uh, yeah, I mean, for SQL databases, yeah, I know that's what happens. You just update the query and create whatever you need to create, I guess. For NoSQL, you usually there are two things you can do. You can manually go and create inside the database, or you can just say I want to post a new, let's say, a cell phone, and you don't have cell phones. And I see like it gets created, like the record, the table, I would say in NoSQL, Mongo, Dynamo, it gets created without having to previously run something else. Um, and with Neptune, you have to first specify like a new node, cell phones, before you can add a particular cell phone. Uh, yeah, sorry, yeah, maybe I was just thinking too much into the question.
no, no, it's fine. Don't worry, don't worry. It was like not super specific. I just, wanted to know, like
Uh,
how do you think about these processes?
okay.
Um, um, yeah. What I'm just like to continue on that. Like.
Mhm.
Uh, the migration processes, like, do you call it like database migration or something? What's your name usually for applying those changes in the database? Like, I usually
Mhm.
call it database migrations, which means like the database goes like from one model to the other, and then
Mhm.
you can read back if you want to the past. um, and that was what do you use at Carasite too? Like, that's it. Like Django, it's very tied to this migration model. So
Mhm.
that's why I'm.
No, yeah. So I mean, I can think of some examples that wouldn't work, and like migration, I think it's kind of the standard. You think of, hey, database transformation, you think of how your schema is going to change. We have some specific field is going to be different, and it is going to be read the same way or written the same way. Um, so yeah, migration transformation, yeah, I think the migration is like the way to go. Like like say replication, you're just thinking of putting the same database in other places. So yeah, I think the term is yeah pretty standard. I to be honest, I have never thought of like naming something different. Migration just comes to my head. Like we just talking, hey, let's do a database migration and migration this, migration that. So, yeah, that's one question.
Um, yeah, I think uh, we're done. Is there like anything that you wanna talk about? That you think, for example, like some project that you're proud of, or some interesting stuff that you've been working on. Uh, like
Yeah, no, sure.
you can.
So I can share two things real quick. One is like back at the start of my career, I was working at Backend Health. So it was company that provides services for laboratories and medical providers. And at the time, we're working with Allergan to do this Botox app. So the idea was to have the like, hey, where you apply Botox and how do you use Botox? Does that be just written or in diagrams? It was super boring, and they wanted to do that more interactively. So the proposition was, okay, let's do a 3D model where you can just go around the human body and click and say, okay, this is how you would apply buttocks. But the challenge was like, I was like pretty much going out of college, and I had no experience with anything like this. I could relate to my experiences in college using Unity for, I don't know, simple projects. So I decided to go with Unity. I didn't have that much experience with C Sharp. So I just put like, how would I go about establishing the needs for the project and the language and the capacities of Unity. I had to go through a lot of documentation and sites talking about Unity at the time, and then I made the proposition of this is what we can do. And I practically learned Unity as I went through the project. Like every day was learning something new, and it's not like I could take my time. I just like in college and just having fun. I had to do a real project and have real clients where there were deadlines. So I had to go fast. I had to learn how to do things quickly and be sure to address everything. So I was pretty proud because at the end of the day, I was able to deploy this application in Mexico. I think it was Brazil and Colombia, where we uh, had our users and deployments. Um, and I was able to say, hey, I made this app with a 3D app, which was pretty cool. Um, that is one. And another example I can think of is very recently uh, at OfferUp, we had the experience that OfferUp was continuously losing users through 2024, through the first half of the year, um, because users weren't engaged. The metrics showed that users weren't engaged anymore, and new users and old users were slowly dropping the app. So the challenge was, okay, how are we going to return our users? And product decided to do three different new verticals. OfferUp is a local marketplace, so the verticals were about local events, local news, local this, local that. um, and where I come in was, okay, we're gonna do these different verticals. Um, how are we gonna do that in the app? Do we have like uh, a quick way to go? And the answer was no. There was no way to quickly implement. The architecture of the app wasn't made for that. I had to do investigations. I do a quick recap with product, and we decided on the next steps. I first think with other teams about the changes that needed to be done. Then I go and did a design document about the changes for the app, the APIs, and the backend changes needed for the new data. And at the end, I went and organized the team around this document and how it's gonna be done. It took us 3 weeks just to redo the architecture of the app, um, but that was something that paid off because we could quickly put up the new verticals like in about a week or so. It was so fast that it even surprised us. Um, and the extra gain was that other teams that also needed to have their own new verticals implemented, they just quickly grabbed that and they had their own like up and running in no time at all. So um, I'm proud of this because I learned a lot about architecture in React Native, about the app, and good practices. visually and in code. Um, so yeah, that those are my most proud things so far.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. From what we talk, I feel like you are a lot more comfortable with front end than back end, right?
I guess yes. In short, yes. I had a lot more years on front end, but Capital One can be pretty. It's truly back end, so I've had to learn my way or the other. It's either I do or I have to try my best and find solutions. So there's no other way. But yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
that's good. Um, okay, I think we're done. Do you have any questions for me?
for sure. So something I asked the other guys last session, and I also want to know like your point of view. Why is it that you, Miguel, decided to join Cure side or her side? Where did you decide to join?
Um, I think I mean, I have a friend that is working here,
Hmm.
and I think the product it's pretty cool and dystopian, and I like
Hmm.
that. That will be making like I don't know if they showed you the product, but it's basically like, oh, you can increase the IQ of humans by this much.
Wow.
I mean, sounds pretty cool. Yeah. It's like a
I,
very like
wow.
futuristic science being done.
I haven't had the chance to see the tool, but I from what you're telling me, yeah, that's high like next level stuff, like definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Um, so like how do you see yourself? I don't know much about your position, but I would like to know a little bit about that and how you see yourself in 2 years in Herasite.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think the company is growing a lot, so there'll be like a lot of room to grow.
Hmm.
I think probably being like tech lead or something like that.
Hmm.
Managing groups of people and contributing, like having a lot more leverage in the product. Like
Hmm.
basically now I'm building like the just like the building blocks of what's gonna be the whole app. And in the future I think it's gonna be still at like doing
Hmm.
like more high level stuff than actual coding. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now that's thanks for sharing that. Like I can see like um from what I hear, you see a lot of promise in the company that the things they're doing are just gonna just go wild and get a lot of need for new people, right? So
Yep.
that's pretty exciting and that's good to know. For the company for a company to be that stable and growing. Um, I'm curious, like, what's the environment nowadays, like between the team and also, I don't know, between the team and other areas like product or the business management. How how does that go? Is that something that's friendly or some pressure? How's that like your experience?
um
How do you feel?
no, the team is pretty small right now, the engineering team.
Hmm.
um like 4 people I would say, and there is like basically no pressure, like we can handle our time ourselves. No problem with that. And we have like we've done some planning of when it's to be built in the next, I don't know, 4 months to
Hmm.
like we launched the app like actually 6 months, and
Okay,
then we're just going through that, like having meetings to see, reprioritize stuff. Yeah, that's basically it.
amazing. So like, is that people neighborly, I guess. I mean, I was able to talk with Ross and Emil. I think they're pretty chill people as far as I could tell, and you as well. I, when I was nervous, I was able to relax.
Yeah,
But uh, uh, but I feel like yeah, you're really neighborly person. So I'm just curious if the other people are like you three or how does that?
yeah. So far, like my experience has been, everyone's like super nice and
Mhm.
friendly. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that's awesome to hear. Like. I just have like one last question about. I'm hearing that right now the priority is to launch the app within 4 or 6 months, have everything up, running, go. So is that like the company just wants to focus on that for the moment, or do they have like other plans and do they have like other challenges come your way? Like,
Yeah, we're doing a lot of the same time. We're like we already have something that customers use,
mhm.
but we want to like basically launch something that is going to be more broadly available to the public.
Okay.
Um, so that's what's going on.
Hmm.
And yeah, we're also like building internal pipelines for like research, like doing a lot of more internal products.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, there is lots to do. Like we want to prioritize the app,
Uh-huh.
which is gonna be used by new customers probably,
Hmm.
but there's a lot more to do.
Like making sure like everything's not just looking at the present, but for the future, like wherever they
Yeah,
decide to go, you're ready for that. Okay. No, that's amazing. And thanks for sharing that. I think for now those are all my questions. Again, thank you
okay,
because I was able to see and learn a lot about the company from your perspective, and I think that's reassuring. I like what I'm hearing. I, I mean, I feel identified because I have a wife and I have a baby girl. So I like and I always what I'm thinking is what's best for my family, what's best for my kid, and we want to have another kid. So as soon as I read that description, I was like, I mean, I don't know if I would do it or not. I'm still deciding, but at least I know that if it was like something I want to do next, it would be because I think it's aligned with the best for my family, and I like that about the company. So yeah, thanks, Miguel.
yeah. Thank you. It was good chatting with you, and see you.
See you.